Hey guys, this is AwesomeJohn22 coming at you today with another review, another TMNT review specifically of a movie figure again. This time we're looking at a character who is very near and dear to my heart. In terms of all of the Turtles characters, I mentioned that Turtles is kind of what got me into collecting action figures in the first place. This character is kind of the reason why I like Turtles. And he's the only character I like. Don't get me wrong, the other characters I like just as much now. But as a kid, and when I'm watching the new series on Nickelodeon, this character is usually the one that kind of brings home the humor of the show for me and hooks me to the show. Michaelangelo, the clown of the team, the least intelligent, the most childish, the most hyperactive, the youngest. He's not what you would consider typical of a ninja. He's a good fighter, but he prefers the flashier of weapons, like the nunchucks over here, or it looks like in the movie he's also going to be using a 3-part staff, which is one of my favorite pole weapons, though I could never myself master it. I don't have the self-control or the patience for it. Yeah, I love Michaelangelo. He's fantastic. He's funny. Great sense of humor. And unlike Leo, who is really into the art of martial arts, and Raphael, who's a strong and dedicated fighter, Mikey's kind of an athlete all around. He skateboards, he'll play basketball, he runs and jumps, and he kicks and dances and does a lot of athletically oriented things in addition to his fight training. Which is why I absolutely love the design of this guy, giving him, I don't know, more down-to-earth ornamentation in the form of these chains. Give him some sneakers, some athletic pants. Make him look like someone who is more of the world than some of his brothers. Absolutely love it. Great design, aesthetic choices. And this, though, is the one figure in the line where I kind of have an issue with some of the paint applications. Yes, there's still a huge variety of paint applications on this guy. But in the product art that I showed you with my previous review of Donatello, there was not the paint issues that are on this guy. So zooming in, we're going to take a look. Again, his eyes are painted in the middle. I believe I painted them blue, yeah, but I painted those myself, once again. They were pure white in the initial release, and he has this chain here, you can see, but the back area of the chain, which I will show you when we get to articulation, is not painted. Also, the bits of his front shell are not painted here, even though they were in the stock images, and it's not something you notice right away, but once you notice it, you can't unnotice it. He has some... going down. He has some silver on his hand here. My light might be a little too bright for you to see it, but this chain above it is not painted, which I don't understand. Just paint that and then paint that. Even if you just paint the outside of the chain, I don't get it. And it's little things like that that bug me about this figure. While I do like the look of it overall, I don't rate it quite as highly in terms of the paint applications as I would the others. And moving on, down here we can see really cool orange stripes that match the orange of his bandana. Well, not quite, but pretty close in his athletic pants, which I think is a nice touch. You can see more asymmetrical aesthetics with this wrap over here and the chain only being on this arm. But he does have the sneakers, which use the same kind of orange color for the laces and for the details, suggesting that maybe these athletic pants and the sneakers are from the same, I don't know, line of athletic gear. And then you have a knee pad over here on this side that is unpainted. I kind of wish it were painted like a gray like this or something, just to distinguish it better, but again, more asymmetrical design aesthetic there. The shell, we can actually get a really good look at their shells for the first time since Donnie had that big tech thing on it. Another pad over here on his elbow. Very good detailing on the hoodie. It is a hoodie, you can see the hood here. Very good detail on that, I absolutely love it. You can even see the straps here in his, like the buckle straps in his harness strap thingy. I'm not really sure what it would be called. And like on Donnie already, something I forgot to mention, there is no weapon storage on this guy at all whatsoever. That was a little down a little bit. In fact, there's not weapon storage on most of these guys, which bothers me slightly, but I could get over it. But really good, zooming in, really good detail on the shell. Just lots of creases and folds and great glossy paint. Looks absolutely fantastic. Couldn't look better in my opinion. And Mikey looks good, don't get me wrong, but he isn't the best in the line by far. They included details in this figure that they really weren't able to bring out with the paint applications, and that kind of bothers me. And it kind of creates some mixed feelings about this figure overall. Though I do, in the end, really like it, and I'm glad I got it. Don't get me wrong. I just wish it had been better, I guess is the best way to put it. Going into his articulation, his head is exactly the same as Donnie's. It rotates like so, rather than back and forth, and you can see here the bits of the chain that are unpainted behind his neck. You can kind of slide it off the ball joint a bit and get it to turn side to side, rather, but I'm not going to do that, because last time I tried that, it now feels a lot looser on the ball joint, and I don't want to risk that happening again, and it just not staying on any longer. You can see, really nice face sculpt. It looks a lot like what we saw in the original trailer, with the more prominent nose and mouth. And I know a lot of people don't like that. I don't mind it at all. I think it's perfectly fine. It's certainly different, but it's not anything that I find put-offish like some people seem to. Full 360 at the shoulders would be possible, and is if you bring the arm all the way out, though most orientations it's pretty hindered by the shell, just like on Donnie. Rotation and bend at the elbow, just like on Donnie. And overall, the articulation on these guys is absolutely consistent from one to the other. It's mostly differences in their sculpts from one figure to the other that limit or allow more articulation. And that is something that's great about Playmates as a toy producer, is their articulation is very consistent amongst the primary figures in the line. The primary figures of this line being the four turtles themselves. For a size comparison, here he is with Donnie, the figure that we reviewed last, and our next review, Raphael, over here. Both of which are the larger, in terms of height at least, of the turtles. You can see a really stark difference between the designs of these guys, which will contribute to my final versus video on the 8th. And despite how some people feel about these radically different designs rather, is one of the reasons why I actually really like this toy line. The vast difference from one character to the next, I think, actually enhances the toy line after all. But again, we will get into that more at a later date. You can see, like I said, stark difference. Mikey is very short. Traditionally, Michaelangelo is one of the shorter turtles. Like I said, he is the youngest. They want to hammer that point home by making him smaller than the others. Though, Donnie is actually a bit thinner than Mikey, since Donnie does practice less. There's my dogs in the background. He does practice athletics less often than Mikey does. So I think in terms of their characterization, Michaelangelo fits very well in with his brothers here. I did not bring Leonardo in to compare him because while we will be taking a look at him in the next couple of days, I don't want to show all four of them together until the Versus review. As a quick aside, I almost forgot to point out that if you're picking this guy up, be very careful with his nunchucks. I'm not sure if you can see that, but there is a stress mark here, and that was there already in packaging. And while I don't expect you to be flexing this around a whole lot, it is something to keep in mind when purchasing the toy. Overall, Michaelangelo is a great figure and obviously an essential part of the collection. Michaelangelo has been the most popular turtle for a long time. Like I said, his sense of humor really kind of brings the show together. And I absolutely recommend picking this guy up if you are a fan of the Turtles overall and wish to support the franchise. Though if you're not a huge fan of the movie aesthetic, maybe take a look at him in packaging at the store first and decide. Because as I said, the few lacking paint applications really do kind of bring this figure down, at least compared to some of the others. Though if you're pretty convinced that you're going to enjoy all these figures and want to display them, I again recommend picking up the 4-pack. I was a little off with my pricing when I was talking about how significantly cheaper the 4-pack was than the individual figures in my last review. The prices are actually closer to being equal, but the 4-pack does still come out a few dollars cheaper. So I still recommend picking that up over the individual figures, unless you're someone who likes to pick up the figures on card for whatever reason and display them that way. In which case, go for the original figures on card. That's really your decision. I'm not going to try to make it for you. I'll only try to influence your opinion. I won't dictate it myself. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for this review. Kind of middle of the road here, but still a worthwhile figure and a great character who belongs in any TMNT collection. So I say, at least take a look at him, guys. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the review. If you did, like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. If you feel so inclined, in the description down below, you will find a link to my collections video, my blog, and my Twitter. Check out the collections video. If you see anything in it that you would like me to review, let me know, and I will see what I can do. This has been Awesome John 22, and I will talk to you guys later.